waiting and waiting. The soft, leafy bottom of the trap was surprisingly cozy. Lansy the bunny lay flat on her back, staring up at the leafy sky above the hole she had just fallen into. Twigs clung to her ears, crumbs sprinkled her fur, and her pride had taken a bit of a tumble, too. She gave a long, dramatic sigh. Of all the creatures in Ticklewood Forest, I had to be the one who actually fell for the trap. Above her, Toffee the chipmunk's face peeked down, upside down and very amused. "You okay down there, Lansy?" "No," Lansy said, flipping onto her belly. "I'm trapped in my own trap." Toffee tried to keep a straight face. He really did. But a giggle snorted out of his nose. "You should have put up a 'beware of trick' sign. That would have defeated the whole purpose." Lansy snapped, though not too harshly. She couldn't blame Toffee for laughing. If the situation were reversed, she'd be laughing too. Actually, she'd probably be howling with laughter. Lansy huffed again and climbed to her feet. She looked around. The hole wasn't very deep, she had made sure of that, after all, but the crumb-coated leaves on the bottom were slippery, and the walls were crumbly dirt. Every time she tried to climb up, the edges fell apart in her paws. "Looks like you're stuck," Toffee said, munching on a pine nut. "Want me to go get someone?" "No," Lansy said quickly, ears twitching. "Don't tell anyone. If word gets out I fell into my own trap, I'll be the laughingstock of the forest." "More than usual." "Toffee." Okay. He raised his paws in surrender, giggling. "But what are you going to do?" "Just wait down there." Lansy sat down with a thunk. "I don't know." For a while they sat in silence. Above her, Toffee started humming a tune. It was cheerful and bouncy and very annoying. Lansy plugged her ears with her paws. "This is the worst prank I've ever done," she grumbled. "I spent all morning planning it. Digging, disguising, decorating with crumbs. And now I'm stuck in it. Guess it backfired, huh?" "No. It benefired." Toffee burst out laughing. "Get it? Because you're a bunny." Lansy sighed. She leaned against the dirt wall and stared up at the sky. Blue peeked through the treetops. A few birds flapped past, then one cheeky squirrel scurried along a branch, throwing a pine cone nearby. She was supposed to be laughing right now. Jumping out of the bush, waving her "you fell for it" banner, and doing her special victory dance. Instead, she was waiting. And waiting. And waiting. Waiting for someone to come along and help her out, but not too many someones. Toffee lay down on the grass beside the hole and peeked over the edge. "So, any plans?" "I guess I'll have to figure a way out. Or wait for someone who won't laugh too hard." Toffee grinned. "You're kind of famous for your tricks, you know. No one ever trusts a path with cookie crumbs anymore." "I thought I was famous," Lansy said glumly. "But maybe everyone's just avoiding me now." Toffee sat up straighter. "No way. You make the forest fun, Lansy. We never know what's going to happen with you around. Remember the time you painted the tree trunks with invisible ink that smelled like bananas? Lansy smiled a little. Or when I switched the signs so everyone got lost on purpose and ended up at the berry patch. Toffee got berry-stained for a whole week, she said with a giggle. But Lancy's ears drooped again. Maybe I've done too many tricks. What if everyone's tired of me? A new voice chimed in. I wouldn't say that. Lansy and Toffee both looked up sharply. There, standing at the edge of the trap with one brow raised and a basket in her beak, was Gilda Goose. Oh no, Lansy moaned, hiding her face. Anyone but her. Gilda clicked her beak thoughtfully. Did you fall into your own prank trap? Lansy groaned louder. Please don't tell anyone. Gilda looked down, clearly trying not to smile. Well, you've certainly pulled a lot of stunts, Benny. But this one might be your best work yet. Don't rub it in, Lansy said. Actually, Gilda said, placing her basket on the ground, I came to tell you something. This morning, I walked the long way around the clearing. You know why? Because of the trap, Lansy mumbled. No, said Gilda. Because I didn't want to ruin it. Lansy looked up. I knew you'd made something. I saw the cookie crumbs. I figured you'd want someone to fall for it, but I didn't want to spoil it too soon. So I took the long way, hoping someone else would be surprised. Lansy blinked. You were trying to help the prank work. Gilda nodded. You're a trickster, sure. But you make the forest lively. Even when we roll our eyes, deep down, we are all wondering, what's Lansy up to today? Lancy's heart did a little flip. Really? Really? Gilda said. Then, with a small smirk, she added, although this time, looks like the prankster pranked herself. Toffee howled with laughter. It's true. It's true. Okay. Lansy said, now laughing too. I deserve that one. Gilda extended one strong wing down. Come on, let's get you out of there. With Toffee tugging from one side and Gilda pulling from the other, Lansy scrambled and slipped and finally, pop, landed in a pile of grass with a puff of leaves flying into the air. Woohoo, she shouted, standing up and brushing herself off. Benny rescue complete. They all laughed together. As Lansy picked leaves from her fur, she looked around at her trap, now half collapsed. Maybe next time, she said thoughtfully, I should do a prank with everyone instead of on them. Toffee nodded. Like a prank party. With costumes and riddles and surprises. Gilda added. Lancy's eyes twinkled. Oh. I like that idea. She smiled wide, her mind already buzzing with silly plans. But for now, she stretched her arms, fluffed her tail, and said, right after I wash these cookie crumbs out of my ears. And off the three of them walked, laughter trailing behind like footprints on a well-loved path. The forest starts laughing. The next morning, the Ticklewood forest was unusually loud. Birds chirped louder. Leaves rustled more playfully. Even the wind seemed to giggle as it danced through the trees. Because something had changed. Lansy the bunny had fallen into her own trap. And word had spread faster than a sneeze in dandelion season. "Did you hear?" whispered Millie Mouse to Berry Badger. She plopped right into the hole she dug herself. Caught by cookie crumbs, chuckled Berry, shaking his head. "Now that's karma." Even the squirrels were snickering from the branches above. Lansy tried to keep her ears low and her tail fluffy as she walked through the forest, but it was impossible to ignore the giggles and side-eyes following her. Toffee the chipmunk trotted beside her, grinning as usual. "You're kind of famous now." "I was already famous," Lansy muttered. "For pulling pranks," Toffee corrected. "Now you're famous for falling into one." Lansy groaned. "Everyone's laughing at me." Toffee tilted his head. "Or maybe they're laughing because of you." Lansy slowed her steps. "What's the difference?" Toffee hopped up onto a tree stump and put his paws on his hips, as if he were about to give the most important speech of his chipmunk life. "Before, you made everyone laugh with surprise," he said. "This time, they're laughing because it was silly, and it was you. They like you, Lansy. You gave them something to smile about." Lansy looked around. Sure enough, animals were laughing. But not in a mean way. Not like "haha, she's so dumb." But more like "haha, I can't believe that happened." And it was true, it was kind of funny. Okay. It was really funny. A tiny chuckle bubbled up inside her. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of her prankster career. Maybe it was the beginning of something better. And just then, crack. Oh! A shriek echoed through the forest. Lansy spun around. From the trees came Gilda Goose, flapping in circles, her basket of feathers flying into the air like popcorn. Lansy blinked. What happened? Gilda landed with a thud, groaning. I stepped on a springy branch that launched me into a puddle. I'm soaked. Toffee looked at Lansy. Lansy looked at Toffee. Did you prank her? He whispered. Nope, Lansy whispered back. I swear, not me. Gilda stood up, feathers dripping, then started laughing. Honk honk che. That's what I get for laughing at you yesterday. Other animals began to giggle too. Gilda's goose got cooked, chuckled Berry Badger. No, it got soggy, hooted an owl. Soon everyone in the clearing was laughing, not at anyone, but with each other. And Lansy stood at the center, soaking it all in. Something magical was happening. Instead of hiding pranks in secret, the forest was full of little surprises today, like bouncy branches and squeaky mushrooms and wobbly rocks. No one was getting hurt, just startled and soaked and splashed and tickled. It was like the whole forest had caught a case of Lansy's silliness. Lansy turned to Toffee. Did you do that springy branch thing? Toffee shrugged innocently. Who, me? Toffee. He grinned. Okay, maybe I borrowed one of your trick ideas. Lansy gave him a playful nudge. I knew it. And then a new idea wiggled into her brain like a worm in a juicy apple. What if the forest wanted to be silly today? What if everyone was ready for a day filled with laughter? Not mean tricks. Not mean laughter. But fun, a harmless mischief. Let's prank everyone, Lansy said, her eyes sparkling. Together. Toffee's mouth dropped open. Like, as a team. As a party. Lansy declared. A giggle fest. Toffee bounced up and down. Yes. We'll call it the first annual Benny Bonkers Bash. I love it. They got to work right away. Lansy's giggle list. A trail of wobbly stones that lead to a squishy mud pillow. A tree stump that squeaks like a duck when you sit on it. Bubbles. Everywhere. A surprise dance circle led by Gilda Goose and her saggy feathers. Glitter pine cones that explode into sparkles when cracked. A cookie crumb trail that leads to an actual cookie picnic. By noon, word had spread, and animals from every corner of Ticklewood Forest were arriving. Squirrels with banana peel hats. Owls with giggle goggles. Frogs wearing mustaches made of moss. Everyone wanted in on the fun. Lansy stood atop a mossy log and held up her glittery banner. It read, "Welcome to the Benny Bonkers Bash." Cheers rang out. Then the music started, drumming acorns, chirping birds, humming bees. And the giggles. Oh, the giggles echoed through the trees like the happiest wind. Animals slipped, bounced, tumbled, and laughed. Millie Mouse landed in the mud pillow and giggled until her whiskers wiggled. Berry Badger sat on the dark squeak stump and roared with laughter. Even old Grumbletoes the turtle cracked a smile when a glitter pinecone popped over his shell. But the biggest laugh came when Lansy herself stepped on a wobbly rock, slipped, and landed with a splash in the middle of the puddle. She emerged, dripping, blinking. And then threw her paws into the air and shouted, "Bonkers bunnies forever." The crowd howled with joy. Later, as the sun began to dip low and the bubbles floated lazily in the golden light, Toffee sat beside Lansy, both of them happily exhausted. "You did it," he said. "You turned your worst prank into the best day ever." Lansy smiled, munching on a real cookie this time. "I think maybe laughter works best when it's shared." Toffee nodded. "Even if it starts with a banana peel hat." "Especially if it does," Lansy agreed. And the forest. It had never sounded happier.